Let's begin. And tonight's class is all about how we prepare to transition to sleep. So moving from perhaps our busy day or busy mind and body to now transitioning to this calmness in our minds and our bodies so that we actually feel like we want to go to sleep and we're not overstimulated. So the class will entail some gentle yin postures at the beginning that will be mainly twists and forward bends, and then we'll finish with a beautiful meditation that takes us into basically gliding into bed, and it helps us to also digest and assimilate our experiences both figuratively and literally. So as I've mentioned, and as I have next to me, I have lots of cushions and supports. So if you know that you like to have a lot of those things nearby, or you can't quite as easily get into a posture, it's really nice to have even blocks as well. So we'll begin by sitting on one of our cushions or blankets or pillows, just to elevate the hips a little bit. So if you're already there, that's great. I'm actually going to switch my left leg to cross in front and invite you to do the same. So if your knees are quite high up and this is an uncomfortable pose for you, just perhaps slip cushions or blankets underneath and support you there. And then we're going to start to fold forward just into an easy cross-legged kind of seat with a gentle forward fold, providing a mild stress into your left hip. And even here, you can use the support of your cushions, blocks, or pillows as you try and allow the head and the neck to completely relax here. So even if your arms are holding you up a little bit, can you try and completely surrender in the rest of the upper body? No holding, no gripping. Can you even soften the fingertips, both hands, and soften the face? There's no need now to be holding on, particularly to the unuseful tension and stress of the day. And throughout the practice, there'll be moments of pauses and silence. Just remind yourself that within that space and rest and silence, that it's an opportunity to even reflect on the wholeness of it. That we can't really touch space, but the space itself is whole and complete. And it reminds us that we're the same. Even on the days we feel a little broken or stressed, that there's that part of us that is whole and complete. If you're finding that you're gripping unconsciously again, Try to bring awareness to that area and release it a little more. Perhaps even finding more depth into your pose. Sinking a little further into your props or a little closer to the ground. No force, no effort, just naturally feeling yourself start to be more open in the deeper tissues of the body. We've been here now for several minutes. So please be gentle as we transition out of the pose, starting to walk your hands back in, allowing the head and neck to be the last thing that completely comes back up to center. Remember that we're being gentle with these passive postures. And now keeping the right knee bent in, just bring the left knee up and slide that right knee a little further under so we come into a twist. So right knee's on the bottom and the left knee's on top. We have the choices for our twist is to hook the elbow on the left knee, bringing the left hand behind you. If that doesn't feel right for you and you feel like you'd like something a little bit deeper, you can bring the elbow onto the outside of the left thigh and just see where you're at today. Remember, you can always transition to the deeper pose as we progress into the minutes of hold. So as you inhale, feel this beautiful length along the spine. And as you exhale, have the intention to release and let go of any tension in the body, finding more spaciousness to twist, and to feel as though your abdomen is twisting rather than the shoulders being super mobile. Allow your eyes to close down if that's comfortable for you. And if you prefer to have your eyes open, just choose one spot that you have a really soft gaze at. A very gentle focus. Can you relax the right hand a little more and the left hand that supports you? Finding ease in the hips. And feeling your seat connect to your cushion or your blanket. Feel this wringing out effect of the twist, as though it's this physical stimulation for digestion and assimilation of the day. Take a few more breaths here. Trying not to let yourself slump into the pose. Keep the spine tall. And your intention to find more space as you twist. On your next breath in, just allow your head and neck to turn towards the front of your mat, your right shoulder. Release your right arm and then release the left arm. Keeping the left knee still up top. Extend now the right leg straight underneath. And now come into a bent knee on the top. And if your knee is really high up, you can place a block underneath here, or even a blanket or a cushion if that feels best for you. As we'll then come to lie down and fold as far as we can over the right leg and the bent left knee. So you may just be here, or you may have a stack of blankets, pillows, and cushions underneath your head to make this more supportive and passive for you. If your right leg feels a bit too intense being straight, you can place a towel or a blanket underneath the right knee so it's not hyperextending towards the floor. And when you find your place where you can be still, remember in the silence and the stillness is where we can find the wholeness and completeness. Even if your hands are holding you up a little bit here, see if you can relax into the fingertips a little more. If you're able to completely release the arms and have the palms face up, make sure that you're relaxing your shoulders and your neck and your head. And see if you can literally feel yourself melting into your forward bend, as though stress and tension, if they were present in the mind and body, start to not affect you, to allow you not to be reactive to those emotions and physicalities. Being very gentle, we now start to extricate ourselves from the pose, walking the hands in, very gently releasing, head and neck coming up last. Move your props to the side if you've used them. And release the left leg out in front of you. And just for a moment, just let your hands rest to the back of you, palms facing away. Just let yourself be in this counter pose in a way, or rebound pose, where you come to a restful position. You don't need to do anything, but let all the tissues of the body start to recalibrate. We've worked one side all in a row, so it can feel pretty intense. There can be quite a bit of sensation running through particular parts of the body, more dominant on the one side. So we worked our left side, but you may be even feeling a bit into the right hamstring after that last pose. So let's now prepare ourselves to come to the other side for the same sequence. So now right leg crosses in front. So this side may feel a fair bit different to the first side. So again, a reminder, if you need little props underneath your knees to support you here, make sure you have them so that it's super comfortable when you come into the pose. So you want to feel sensation, but you don't want to feel like you're just holding on or pushing yourself to the next level. Now we begin to walk the hands forward. And if you needed props for underneath your head last time, you may choose to use the same ones, or let yourself experience this side in a different way. Head and neck relaxes. The arms relax as much as they can. Knees and both hip joints. Sit bones connected to your blanket still. Now, having been in several poses now and a little way into the practice, it's a nice time to remind you of your breath, and perhaps to even bring a slightly lengthened exhale to your cadence. So if you're inhaling for 4, notice what it feels like to breathe out for 6. Or if you breathe in for 3, try and breathe out for 5 or 6. And just notice where your breath rhythm is this evening or tonight. And with each exhale, feeling it as though it's a gentle massage of all your abdominal organs. It's a perfusion, helping to perfuse the whole body. Stay just a few more breaths. Exhale slightly prolonged, making the focus about the navel here, where it's pulling in towards the spine. And this will continue into our next pose when the focus of the posture will be on the abdominal center. So now please start to walk your hands in. Very gentle and slow. Seeing how your body's responding to the poses, your breath and your mind. Just let yourself be for a moment. And now we come to our twist for the other side. So right knee comes up and you slide the left knee under a little more so we can come into our twisting position. So just for clarity, the right knee is up, the right foot is completely in contact with the floor, and the left knee is bent and underneath you, but your heel should be just to the side of your right seat. And now we come into the twist part where the right hand comes behind you and you either hook the front knee with elbow or perhaps even with your hand, or you can bring the left elbow to the outside of your right knee. And we find this beautiful twist. Lovely twist into the spine. At the same time, getting this compression into our abdominal center. But if it's affecting your breathing, where you feel like you can't get enough breath in, you may be in your pose a little bit too deeply. So just gently come out a bit where you feel you can keep your breath cadence balanced and controlled, as we work now with that prolonged exhale. So if you can't quite get 1 to 2 breathing, just see if you can make your exhale even 1 or 2 counts longer than what your inhale is. Eyes closed down, or focus gently on one spot. And get really in tune with your breath. And notice the direct impact it has on your mind. As we start to stimulate now the parasympathetic nervous system, simply just by extending our exhale. Twisting from the center of the body and not from the top or the bottom. Just using them as leverage points. And your next breath in, just turn your head, neck to face forward. And then we release left arm and right arm, keeping the right knee on top. We now extend the left leg underneath us and bend the right knee a little more. So if this hip is particularly tight, the knee is going to be quite high. So feel free to have as many support items underneath that knee and in between the thigh if you need. Don't feel like you're weak for having that or incapable, because we can tap out of a pose when we feel like we can't access it. So make it accessible for you today. And even if you can bend forward and it's not relatively sensational for you, it's nice to sometimes just place support under these areas to notice what it feels like to have that support. And to have that before bed is such a nice little feature of a class to do that. So now we start to lean forward, and you may need a little bit of extra support underneath your head as we start to come down. And at any time during the pose, if something shifts, just take it as a moment of reassessment for you, whether you need to add or remove a prop, or whether it's just a moment of gratitude for tissues in the body releasing. One to two breathing, or just a slightly longer exhale. So always go off the measure of the breath as to whether you may or may not be too deep in a pose. We always can tell whether we're too far in a pose if our breathings become a little bit too difficult. Just another few breaths here. Notice whether there are any unconscious movements in the body or feelings of you wanting to move and needing to fidget, or whether you're feeling like you're more able to surrender into the stillness of the pose. Not good or bad, right or wrong, just witnessing it and trying to bring your awareness back to the breath. And now, please start to walk your hands back in and allow the head and neck to slowly come back up and eventually come to its neutral position. Place your props to the side and extend your right leg out in front of you. And just for a moment, allow yourself to be still, even in this rebound pose. Allowing now both sides of the body to have a sense of balance. You may even have a heightened sense of the asymmetries in your body. So now we'll come to lie on our back and have your cushions, pillows, or blankets close by. I'm going to use both. And we'll come to lie down and bend our knees all the way in towards us. And just hold either shin for just a moment. And see what it feels like to lie down on your back. Maybe even the first part of this day after your working day, whatever you've been up to. Now find your cushions and blankets and place them beneath your knees. So as many as you want that feels relatively comfortable for you before we come into a twist. So now the arms come out to a T position, and then I allow my knees to fall to the right, and you'll see that I have quite a big stack of cushions and blankets here, which helps to support the hips. If it feels like a little too much, by all means you can remove the layers and just get yourself a little bit more comfortable into the pose. And then allow the head and neck to just be neutral in the middle. And palms resting face up or face down, whatever helps you to release more into the upper body, the chest and the front of the shoulders. Just feeling both knees relaxing, but also feeling this incredible support where our hips are kept in a fairly neutral position. Even still here, we're working towards lengthening the exhale, which helps to bring calmness into the mental side, mental functioning. Which then in turn helps us make our our breath feel and be calmer. This interlinking between breath and mind. To transition out of this pose to the other side, just slightly engage your abdomen, the navel center, to bring the knees back to center. You may even want to place your feet on your mat for a moment just to readjust the hips and to feel centered. You can lift the hips, slightly move them to the right. Draw the knees in and then allow the knees then to move to the left-hand side. The arms still in a T position. Perhaps if you had the palms up on the first side, you may want to switch it to resting the palms face down if that's not causing too much strain on your anatomy. Eyes closed or soft gaze onto the ceiling. And you're working towards extending your exhale. Trying now for a 1 to 2 breath ratio. So meaning if you breathe in for 3, you breathe out for 6. Or if you breathe in for 4, you breathe out for 8. But if that causes any stress or tension, just ease back to what your body and your breath is ready for in this moment. And it can differ so much at different times of the day, on different days, depending on where we've come from or where we have to go. And sometimes it can be as simple as someone giving you permission to rest, that the breath, the body and the mind completely surrenders and gives in to this permission. And other times our mind is far too active to be put at ease. And it's in these moments it'd be really nice to be just a little child again, where they have this beautiful ability to switch from a tantrum to just going straight to sleep. And the more and more that we train our body to have these switches from the daily grind to calming ourselves before bed, we'll get a little bit better at being able to do this, where we may have this external stress, but we can still regulate our body to get into a sleeping pattern, or to eat well, to surround ourselves with nourishing and healthy people. For the next little bit, you have permission to rest. And please gently engage your abdomen as you bring the knees back to center. And if you can, even with your props in between your knees, just gently hold on to the shins again and pull the knees into your abdomen and chest before you then release to come into your Shavasana pose. Just a brief Shavasana before we come to our meditation. And your Shavasana now is really a rebound pose to allow the connective tissue now to completely release and to rebalance itself around the body. All of the connective tissue starting to redistribute the fluid back into the areas that it needs to go. So eyes closed down, shoulder blades rolled down your back. And hips a little wider, heels a little wider than hip distance apart. And with the work that we did with extending exhale, without this being pranayama so much now, see if you can feel this effortlessness of breath moving in for about 3 counts. And as you breathe out, try and extend it for 6 counts. If this causes effort or strain, just back off a little bit with the breathing, but it shouldn't be effortful or stressful. It should just naturally feel now that the breath in, it's like the breath falls into you. And as you breathe out for 6 counts, the breath naturally flows out from you as gravity helps to pull the navel towards the spine. And with each exhale, feeling yourself melt a little further and closer to your mat, to the earth, to the support beneath you. Now start to bring gentle movement to fingers and toes, finding small circles in your wrists and ankles. Bend your knees and roll over to your right side, just taking a moment on your right side before you do come up to a seat. Just to let yourself adjust from lying to now preparing yourself for a beautiful little meditation before hopefully you're going to sleep. Or winding down, whatever that means for you. So please now establish your seat. Make sure that you feel comfortable to hold this position without feeling any strain in your knees or hips, but allowing the whole spine to feel strong and tall, and for the head and neck and low back to all be in one line. And let's continue this extended exhale. So without using our hands for any pranayama just yet, start to reconnect to this lengthening of exhale. Using our ujjayi breath as we breathe in for 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continuing here. In, 2, 3, and out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, and out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue here with that rhythm if that's working for you in this moment. Ujjayi breath through both nostrils, in and out. Feeling that gentle constriction at the back of the throat. And feeling the awareness of the breath touching the sinus passages and the back of the throat. And as you find your cadence of breath, start to feel this sense of renewal and detoxification with each inhale. And a sense of letting go and releasing tension with each exhale. The navel now actively pulling in towards the spine, helping to perfuse the whole body as we nourish our internal organs through our breath. Keeping this same rhythm of in for 3 and out for 6. We're going to do this with alternate nostril breathing. So the right hand comes up towards the face. The middle and index finger bends in. We bring our appropriate fingers to the edge of where the bone and the cartilage meet on the nostrils. So continue still for in 3 and out 6, just through both nostrils at this point. And the next time you breathe out, when you fully finish exhaling for 6, block the right nostril. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Block left, exhale right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right, 2, 3. Block, exhale left, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In left, 2, 3. Block, out right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale right, 2, 3. Block, out left, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please continue with this rhythm just for a couple more rounds. A complete round is when it starts with the left nostril and it ends when it exits the left nostril. As well as the movement of air through the nostrils. See whether you can bring your awareness to the inflation of the belly as you inhale. Navel moves away from spine. And as you exhale, the navel's gently pulling towards the spine, helping your spine feel nice and tall and strong and supported. Let's do one more complete round. If you're halfway through a round, just complete that particular round and release the hand whenever you're ready. Not rushing, just completing it wherever you are in your cycle. And now again, feel the breath moving through both nostrils. And see now whether you can keep your Ujjayi breath, but make it super quiet, allowing your body to be quiet and still. Just this centering and grounding connection towards the navel center. Awareness at the navel center. a sense of spaciousness that you've created in your whole body, but even more so in the whole abdominal cavity with the efficient use of your breath. And as you feel now this space clear of any stress or tension, allow yourself to just experience what that feels like. And for the next minute or so, rest in the stillness and the silence, in the space of the abdomen. The concentration point is at the abdominal center. In this state of completeness and wholeness, it's a beautiful moment to invite how you want to move forward from this moment, what you want to bring into that space. Whether that's dreams, moving into your night's sleep, attitudes or values, or gratitude. Please bring your left hand over the abdominal space and the right hand over the top. And feel this gentle transference of energy from your palms into the navel center. Nourishing the space that helps to nourish you. And please bring your hands to heart center to give gratitude for your practice. Namaste. And thank you for joining me.